Quilt Escape fans, we're back for part 2 of the Tall Pines block, and this time we're going to talk about Fast Flying Geese. And if you'll zoom in right here, Drew, we want to show them how we mark them. You need 4 4-inch squares and 1 7.5-inch square that represents the pine color, and the 4 4-inch squares are the background. So if you can look here with me, I've already marked these, but I want to show you again on the screen how easy it is to mark this. So at 3.5, you're going to use your tool and just make your mark. And of course, I'm going to have a little fun here as I rotate that around. And I'm going to mark it again on the other side. I'm marking my sewing lines, my exact sewing lines that I need. And when you do your fast flying technique, fast flying geese technique, you'll have 4 of these 4-inch squares and 1 large square. Now I've already gotten the first 2 squares down. So take a look at this and zoom in here, Drew, so they can see how I've got them lined up on the outside edges of the large 7.5-inch square. These 4-inch squares overlap in the center. So when you look down at this, you'll see, oh, these are overlapping. Does it matter which one overlaps which one? No, not at all. But it does matter that they overlap. The other thing to look for is you can see how the lines match up. So when I start sewing over here, I'm going to literally be able to keep going right on to the next piece. Then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to start sewing from the other side. This method has been used. It's very popular. What's different about my method is the math. The math allows you to cut everything at a whole number or half number. Hence, you are working with 7.5 and 4-inch squares, which is a lot easier to rotary cut. And I think when you're rotary cutting those whole and half numbers, the accuracy goes up. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start off and sew right on the line, follow down to the next one, and this is a good place to pick up that seam ripper and hold these 2 squares together. So here we go, just stay on the line. That's about the only thing you have to do is guide the machine and stay on the line. Now you'll just stop there and go ahead back. And you don't have to have a leader. I just want to say that. I'm just used to it. But for this process, so much of the foot is on the fabric that if you sink your needle right there on the line, you'll be good. Just follow along. Make sure when you get right here to the center that you stop and check that these 2 lines are matching up. Keep coming and sew right off. Alright, now here's the next trick. And for this I am going to use the rotary cutter. Drew, would you pass me that rotary cutter over here? I'm going to unpin. Thank you. Wasn't that clever how he did that? Just shot it right over here. Now, too bad you all don't have him in your studio. I am actually, for the first time on screen, going to use my tool to cut something. And you don't have to do this, for heaven's sake, but this would be I'm eyeballing my 1/4 inch right here, but it's nice because it is a diagonal and it does fit this unit pretty well. So I'm just going to cut that, then I'm going to turn it around, pick up the tool, and go to the other side. Here, slide it off. It's easier for me to pick up with these nails. All right. Now I'm going to have 1/8 of an inch out here that I will be throwing out again. So just your 1/4 inch right here. And I'm eyeballing it. Again, you can get out your regular rotary cutter if you like. And this is basically it. There's your scrap. Don't worry about watching me do that. And again, I am going to trim off my dog ears here. In this case, you'll have 2, and it's easier to do it right here on this mat. So there they are. Now, you've got 2 units that I call the stealth bombers. Look at them. This is them. They start to look like that stealth bomber when I press the triangles, the little triangles, away from the big triangle. All right. So this is what the unit looks like now. All right, now you've got 2 more squares that you've marked, and here's how they work. You're going to put them right sides down on the big square. You're going to make sure that you follow this outside edge. And this is really neat right here. I've got enough pins. You're going to see that the line that you have marked at your 3.5. Okay, that's the only problem with artificial nails. Is going to cross right here on this previously sewn piece, and that is critical to the outcome. So you're going to know right away this thing is going to match up beautifully. All right. Notice I am pinning, and it's important to me to have a pin on either side. Now you're not going to sew over these pins. They're out here far enough that you're not going to sew on them. Now I'm going to hold these up, and you should be able to see where the line crosses. I'm going to point this out right here at the edge of this previously sewn triangle. Very important. Now there's 2 ways you could sew this. And one way that you can sew it is to begin sewing from the inside. And the advantage of that, I'm going to put it under here, is that I can sink my needle and know for sure that I'm going to cross this right where I need it to cross. In a minute, it's going to make more sense when I take it out from under here, because I'm going to create 2 flying geese units from this one. Oh, wouldn't you know that I just unthreaded my machine? Okay, that was a big prop for Baby Lock because it's the best. I just love it when it comes to threading my needle. Does it all the work for me. So now I'm going to make this needle go down. It's going to cross right precisely at that line. And here we go. Just love this. Now I can go ahead and pick up the other second piece and feed this right underneath it. Notice I'm just going to kind of shove it up there, making sure that that fits right in there. Normally I would turn things around, but in this case I'm not going to do any turning. I'm basically going to move it over. Did you see what I did? No turning, but simply move it over because I'm sewing from this inside line. And again, I want to sink my needle right here. I can see exactly where it's going to go. And I'm going to come on down this line, till I get to the second one. And you know, when I do a process like this is really just to demonstrate too that you can make a lot of these in succession, one right after another, which is wonderful. Now when you do this and you use a big square and 4 little squares, you're actually going to get 4 flying geese units out of one of them. Now, when you look back up here at this block, you noticed I used 3 different greens. I don't have 4, but I have 3. Could I just get all 3 out of the same square? Yes. So I'm going to let you decide that. What I thought was I made extra ones so that I could use them in my flying geese border at the end. And I'll explain that the sizes of them are the same for the border as they are in the block, so I wouldn't be wasting anything. Now you see what I'm doing, cutting it right down the middle. I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 1/4 inch. And you see I'm eyeballing it this time. And when I press this up, this is so cool. You're going to see I have a perfect 1/4 inch at the top of the background, and it's straight across. That was the advantage of the marking tool, because the marking tool shows you exactly where you're going to cross, where the lines are going to meet, and you're always going to wind up with a top on this flying geese unit that is straight across, and that's a big deal. So you're going to have several of these. Like I said, had a little fun and made a bunch of them, and I'm just showing you real quick. Then obviously you're going to put them together. I've got this color, and I think I have another color here. Let me see. Yep, here it is. So you're just going to be sewing those 3 together, and then you'll make your rectangle units with your tree trunk in the middle, and then sewing your large rectangle unit for the ground area. Then once you've sewn this tree together and sew this tree together, you'll make one long seam and you've got tall pines. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed showing you how to make fast flying geese. Have a great day.